Angela Cooper. I am with People for People Employment Assistance Program. It is a consortium of churches from different denominations who had gotten together back in 2009 to help people find jobs. I had given you a handout. You can follow along with the handout as well. The services that we provide is resume writing, career counseling, spiritual counseling, as well as direct job training and career youth development. I want to go around the room and find out exactly what you'd like to walk away with today. What would you like to learn today?
Transitioning to the next step in your career.
Okay. What about you?
I am a babysitter. I'm looking at a job, but I want to go back to the college too.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to make my resume nice.
Uh-huh.
And then work Monday to Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Write something is called the attention of the parents, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then have my job Monday to Friday and have time back to school at Saturday.
Okay, so you're looking for a job Monday through Friday, and we're going to talk about that. That's a value, okay? How are you today?
Hi.
Good.
Miss Dahlia. I'm actually would like to find a full-time job with benefits.
Okay.
The recent job is part-time. Of course, obviously there's no benefits
Mm-hmm.
in this field. So I don't think I'm looking at the right places. I'm all over the place.
Okay.
Figure out how to do that.
Okay. Okay. How are you today?
Fine, and you?
Good.
I would like to find either like childcare or how I can start my own daycare.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So let's look at your handout that I've given you. We're going to talk about the agenda today. One thing that we are going to be talking about is to rethink the way you think, okay? Rethink what you know. How do you see life? How do you even see, following up and doing job searches? We're going to have a discussion on that, okay? We're going to talk about creating strategies and putting together a map, as well as changing your attitude while you are looking for a job. We're going to try to end on time here. We ask that you kindly turn off your cell phones, and the class is interactive, so I will be calling on you from time to time. And if you need to go to the restroom, you can just leave. So there are unlimited opportunities today as far as jobs are concerned. And if you think about it, we live in a global economy, okay? We live in a global economy. And so that means that how many people have cell phones? Just about everybody. But when you're calling for help or tech support, sometimes you get people from India, correct? Mm-hmm. Or all over the world. So we have a global market. People work all over. So you're not just competing against people here in the States. You're competing globally. So what do you think that means? If you are not just competing with the people here and you're competing globally, tell me some of the things that you should be doing so you can be a competitor in the market.
Figuring out what makes you stand out from the crowd.
That's true. Yes. What about you?
I think it depends on what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Some careers require, for example, education.
Right.
Focus on that more than skills. Some careers they want to see your skills, what you can bring to the company, and what they can benefit from your skills.
Yes.
And it just depends.
And that's great. What about you? What do you think? Some things you should be doing.
You know, because it's global, we have to open our mind and just don't have focus in one thing. It's open
Yes.
minds.
Yes. That's good. That's good. You have anything you would like to add?
They have a positive mindset on looking at different things. If you think negative, you're not going to really get the job. If you have any type of doubt. So just come in there with just about the same thing she said. Just think positive about the job and have a positive outlook on how things could be with the job instead of just like looking at the smaller picture of things.
That is so true. So everything you all said is right, okay? So that's a combination. And so looking at it, rethinking how you think about job seeking. You have to look at it as job opportunity. For me, I have been unemployed before, and during that time, I really took that time to think about what could I do during that time? What was it that I really wanted to do with my life? And one was help people. That was one of my main goals, was helping people. And from there is, what does that look like? And as a result of that, I had started a early childhood development program where I actually went in and I trained healthcare workers on how to do developmental screenings on children. And so that time was a critical time in my life, but I didn't look at my situation from a negative view. I took it as an opportunity to do something else that I really wanted to do. And as a result of that, I did that for 10 years, went in and trained early childhood teachers as well as healthcare providers. And then after that, I had completed that. I looked back on the program. The program became standard across the country. And so then in 2008, our economy took a turn for the worst. And as a result, we saw a need and decided to start the People for People Employment Assistance Program. And from there, we expanded to our Dream Leadership Youth Program. Because of the negative connotations around our young people, we were going to change that. It wasn't complaining, it was coming up with solutions. So there is more to us than we actually know if we're not willing to tap into that and really see what our capacity looks like and who we really are. We can miss out on opportunities and dreams and desires by not accomplishing what we would really like to do. So rethinking how you think is crucial to your destiny of where you're going to end up. A lot of times, sometimes we'll say, well, this happened and that happened and I can't because it's hard. But we must learn to overcome obstacles. We must learn to continue pushing until we meet our goals. But you cannot meet your goal if you don't have them written down. What's your dream? What's your ultimate dream?
My ultimate dream that I've ever done, I've been an aspiring business executive, publishing, and production coach.
Okay. And so one day could be, or 20 or 30, right? So it's important we put. You have to do that with finding a job. You have to do that with your dreams, meeting your dreams, any goal, any accomplishment in life. Okay? And you have to be, how do you see the glass? Do you see the glass half full or half empty? Half full. What about you? You're half full? You're half full? Yes, you have to see it half full because that tells me that the other half is full of opportunity. And if I'm willing to go after it, to put in the effort and the energy, to put in the work, I can achieve anything and everything that I wanted to. I know at one time I used to think of when people say, oh, you can achieve anything you want to, and I used to say, oh yeah, right, that's you because that's what you've done, until I was in that situation and realized that I had a passion to help people and realized that there were people who were unemployed and I wanted to help them find jobs, and then there were the youth that I wanted to help, And so had a passion to achieve those, and putting in the work and effort allowed that to happen. And that's the same way with employment. And if you don't know where you're going, any path will do. So that's when you'll say you have a dream, but you don't have a plan. And so you be all over the place and then you look up and you're like, how did I get here? Because you didn't have a plan. And I tell our youth that all the time. They'll say, well, I want to be a computer engineer. Okay, are you good at science? Are you good at math? Well, no. Okay, do we need to get you a tutor? Do you need a tutor? Do you need to talk to your parents about that? Because there are certain skills and abilities that you need to accomplish your dream. Is that right? Everybody agree? Okay. So how many people have taken advantage of the classes here at Montgomery College or free training at the Workforce Development Services? You have? Okay, good for you. Okay. So while you know that as you want to be a provider, right? A child care provider, what steps are you taking to get certified or because I think you have to have a license now to be a child care provider. Have you taken any steps to accomplish that goal?
Not at all. In some areas,
Uh-huh.
you have to,
Right.
but in other ones, no. I already have my CDA.
Okay.
I just need to to renew
Okay.
my CDA.
Uh-huh.
I have my binder with all my certificates and all my information.
Good.
And I have my profile
Mm-hmm.
in two websites. And then I just try to, I ask the people I work for
Uh-huh.
if they can pass any review.
Okay.
And then that's what I'm doing, but I want to do more.
Right. Okay. Okay. So let's take a moment and write down 2 goals that you would like to achieve in the next 12 months. I believe that's on page 4 of the handout.
Yeah.
Yes. Take a moment and write down 2 goals you would like to achieve. And I'd like you to hold on to that because 12 months from now, you need to think as to think about whether you achieve those goals or not. Okay, ready? Okay, next I want you to take a moment because there are things sometimes when I, run into a crossroad and my spirit is not really high and situations happening in life and I'll sit and I'll think about, that woe is me type attitude. Everybody's familiar with that one, right? But then when I look at other people's situations, and I look in third world countries, and I see that I'm a lot better off than a lot of people, then I have a lot of gratitude, and I'm very grateful. So now I want you to take a few minutes to write down 5 things that you're grateful for. to go around the room and just ask you to share with us at least one thing that you're grateful for.
I am grateful because I'm healthy, my sons too, and that is very important.
Yes.
We have a roof, we have food, we have a clothes,
Yes.
and that's because that is something we need every day to go
Yes.
forward
Keep
every day.
going.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. Great. I'm glad to hear that. I felt the same way you do. Would you like to share one thing you're grateful for? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have support about my dreams.
Okay. You have people supporting you? Good. So you're going to accomplish your dream. You've made a decision to accomplish your dream. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. What about you? One thing.
My children.
Your children.
My
Yes.
children motivate me to be a better person
Good.
for their sake.
Yes.
And I'm motivated to just do things like finding a good job, completing my education, because I want to be a role model for them.
Good.
And I'm seeing it with my oldest. He's attending MC. He's motivated to finish college because he's seen mom doing that. So.
That's great. That's good to hear. Okay. One thing?
I feel the same, my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
When I had her, I was told that I wasn't going to be able to have children. And then when she came, she was at the risk of being miscarried, threatened miscarriage. But then as time went by and I kept praying, her heartbeat started getting stronger and stronger.
Good.
So like looking at her, like, even though people can say negative things about, you won't be this or whatever, looking at her and they're saying that she wasn't going to make it, and then there she is, like 21 months, standing strong. It just makes me look like, don't worry about what someone else says. You
Right.
control your own destiny and your own future, regardless of what you're told.
Yes.
So
Well,
she motivates me to do better.
That's great. That's great. Because a lot of times what we do as parents is we're so busy pouring out on other people, our kids. We run, where we forget about ourselves through that whole process, and then we become exhausted. And then sometimes we get frustrated too. And so what I've learned for myself, because I've been there, what I've learned for myself is that I have to replenish me. I have to start with me, and then I can pour out to others. And that's including my son and my family. Because if I'm not healthy and strong and positive, I'm only going to project onto the people that are around me my attitude. And so it might not be a good one. But a lot of times, sometimes, people who don't recognize that, they pass that on to your kids sometimes. We can say, I was talking to my son the other day and he said something and it reminded me of me. And I was like, okay, you can't get upset because it sounds just like you. So we have to be very careful as parents to make sure we're healthy, that we're whole, that we're positive, because that attitude will be projected on the people that's around us, okay? So we have to make sure we take care of ourselves. So let's go, I'm going to quickly talk about values, as far as work values, because I know that for me, I've always been very fortunate to work jobs that I have a passion for and enjoy. And everybody doesn't always do that or have the luxury of that, because sometimes we need the job and we need to pay our bills and make ends meet. So these are some things that you could think about as you are looking for a job. And that is, I know for me, I don't want to drive 2 hours to get to work and back. That's just not me. I don't want to pay parking for parking $20, $30 a day. That's not me. So I know, and I made a conscious decision when I went to look for my job, that my job was going to be 10 to 15 minutes from where I lived, and that they were going to offer free parking, and that they had benefits. Did I want to work weekends? But because I enjoy what I do, I don't mind working weekends. So those are the types of things that you have an option of deciding. You don't have to just take a job because you feel that you have to take a job. You want a job because you're getting what you want, and you're providing the services that the organization needs at the same time. So think about yourself in the process when you're looking for a job, okay? Are you looking for a small company? You want to work for a large company? Those are things that are important for you to think about when you're doing your job search. Right now, I want you to take another minute and write down at least one job that you would be interested in having. Where would you like to work? If you had your way, where would you like to work? What organization would you like to work for? What type of job, your ultimate job, what would that be? And you have a right to an ultimate job. But the thing is that, like I tell my students, you can want to be somebody, but what path do you have to take to get there? You just can't say this is what you want to do, and you don't have the necessary skills and ability to do that. And if that's the case and you want to do this, do you need to go back to school? Do you need to take training? Do you need to study self-study? Okay? Because there is a thing called teaching yourself. There are many people have taken time to teach themselves about different areas or skills and so forth. And I can attest to that because I'm one of those people. Me, every single day, I am intentional about learning something new. Every single day. Because there is power in knowledge and information, and it can change your trajectory of how you see your life, okay? So always be intentional about teaching yourself, and especially if you have children, because they're watching you. They're looking at you, okay? And it's no longer just us now. There's a whole family involved. And how do we impart positive into our next generation to help them to be even better than we are, okay? How many people, if you have access to the internet, correct? If you do a search, a Google search, and you put in the fastest growing industries in the Maryland or DC, they will tell you. So we already know tech is not going away. Technology is not going away. I just heard, I believe, the administration, this new administration, talk about the Space Force. You see, STEM programs are hot right now. You know, the science, the technology, the engineering, the math. So how do we tap into, you know, the trendy, or I wouldn't say trendy, but the growing industries? How do we prepare ourselves as far as knowledge, gaining knowledge, and so forth to prepare? Because we know that we're going to be competing. I tell students, you're not competing just against the kids in your class, nor your school, nor the people in Maryland, nor your country. You're competing globally, and you have to prepare. And we're never too old to learn. So that's a myth if you ever heard that. Because I see people 70, 80, 90 still going strong. So it's not over till it's over. How many people are on LinkedIn? Okay. So have you connected on LinkedIn? Okay, you with some groups and you look for jobs, and how is your, you just have a profile out there, right? You have a profile. Okay. Profile, you've connected with a network. How many people are you connected to?
I gotta be honest, I'm not
Okay.
very active in my LinkedIn, which I need to
Okay.
brush up on
That's just, yeah.
my resume and whatnot.
Okay. That's just one avenue. Okay. It is important that networking support groups that you connect with, because today it's about who you know as well. And so it's important that you network. That's an option. And you can, as long as you have the qualifications, you have the skills, you're networking with people, people can connect you to other people. I've seen it happen. We're getting ready to launch a new project, and the people that I need to be a part of that just keep coming out the woodwork, and so building relationships is crucial. Okay, because people can help you, and they know people and know people. So that's an option. We don't take away from going to career fairs. We don't take away from college career centers. We don't take away from the classified ad. But we do suggest sometimes that when we know that if you send your resume out there online, hundreds of other people are submitting resumes as well. Okay, and a little tip that if a position is 30 and 40 days old when you go out there online, it's been out there for like 30, 40 days. Can you imagine the number of applications, that's right, that have been submitted for that position? So a little tip, when you see it like 1, 2, 3 days, jump on it right then and there if you're going to do an online application. And then you want to identify the companies that you would like to work for. You can go on their websites directly. How many people go to Indeed and so forth? Okay, that's one place. Let me make a recommendation. When you go on Indeed, and Indeed has a position, also go on to the company's website, okay? Because they may have other openings available that you can apply for as well. So make sure you do that. When you decide to put a map together, like I said, with the end result in mind, you put a map, you put in your GPS to get here. You're going to make a decision to look for a job. You're going to put in at least, if you're unemployed, at least 8 hours a day. Okay? 5, 6 would work. Start somewhere. But at least, just like you're on a job, your map is your boss. It wakes you up in the morning. It tells you to get on the computer. It tells you, let's start looking and seeing what opportunities are available to us. It tells us to go and do the research on the job descriptions. We just don't take a resume and send it out to hundreds without reading the job descriptions. Okay, we make sure we qualify, because you go through it and you check off, oh yeah, I have this skill, I have that skill. This is what I can do in this particular area. Oh yeah, I can do this. And then you craft your resume according to the job description. Okay? Craft your resume according to the job description. You want to spend time networking. That's a part of your job seeking. You want to perhaps knock on doors. I know, how many people are bold enough to knock on a door? No? Okay, yes. Knock on doors and ask if they're hiring. I mean, we used to send people into the stores, like a gentleman was looking for a retail job. So he went into the shopping mall, and he went into every store in the shopping mall. He knew he had to fill out the online application, but he went dressed as if he was going on an interview. And he was very impressive. And so as a result, the people told him to go online, fill out the application. He left his information, had a little card, resume card, left that with them. They were willing to flag his resume when it came through, and he got the job. Okay, so that is an option. Again, other ways that you can find is through family, through friends, okay? Sometimes we have to come out of our comfort zone. Sometimes we don't like to ask people for help. We want to do it ourselves. But in this case, when you ask, sometimes you get. But you'll never know. If you don't ask, you don't know the opportunities that you may be missing. Okay? So if you're a little nervous, step out your comfort zone. Because I know even for me, when a lot of things that I stepped out into, I believed that I could do it. I wasn't comfortable because it was unfamiliar to me, but I was willing to do it. And as a result, practice makes, you hear? Exactly. So practice. Go ahead.
So not just knocking, because most people use social media a lot. Would you suggest, like, if you are interested in that company, posting something on their page to let them know, or inboxing them or something like that?
You could possibly do that. There's nothing wrong with it to see whether they respond or not. But making sure that when you mention social media, just make sure everything that you're doing is clean on social media, okay? But that is an opportunity there. Yes, just explore all the options. And then networking, there are network groups you can go on the internet that they have every kind of network you can think of on the internet, okay? And then if you decide you want to go to one of those networking groups, what you do is kind of come out your comfort zone and spend a few minutes to go up to people, to introduce yourself to them, and build the relationships. How many people have a lot of friends?
Close friends.
No, this is people you associates, okay. Because I'm a very outgoing person, although I am an introvert. Does that make sense to you?
That's
Yeah.
That's it. Although I'm an introvert, I'm a very outspoken because it's when I have to, I do that. But I am very introvert where I like to be, to myself. But for causes, I can come out. Okay, any questions so far? Anybody want to add something? Some suggestions you want to add? Or is we're going to just about ready to wrap it up? Again, invest in you. Remember we talked about how we poured out on everybody else and we forgot about ourselves, but we have to invest in ourselves. Did you have any hand? We have to invest in ourselves. We have to. Every day, I have to be intentional. Some days I have to be intentional. Like this week I was off, but I wanted to do some fundraising for one of our programs. So I was like, this is your week that you could just put your little shorts on. But I had to be intentional about presenting myself to people to go out and ask. So you have to be intentional about investing in you. To look and believe in yourself, look in the mirror every day and say, you're more than what you believe you are. If you think about some of the celebrities who everybody else looked at them as so famous, and they themselves within did not feel that way about themselves. And so people may see you totally different than you see yourself. And so it's important that you see and believe in yourself first. And don't let your situation define who you are. Because life is full of situations. It's the accomplishments, to be able to overcome your challenges, to pursue, to persevere, to endure, to keep pushing until you accomplish what you're set your goals to accomplish. That's why it's good to write it down and to have little milestones to say, I've done this. I know when I was in school and graduated, it took me years, because I was doing it part-time. I had a part-time job a full-time job, I had a part-time business, I was a single parent, but it took a while for me to continue to push and almost gave up. But I knew I couldn't give up because if I had given up, that giving up would have spilled over into other areas of my life. And so I had to intentionally tell myself that I can accomplish anything that I can put myself, anything that I decide or set goals for. And I had to believe that about myself. Even though physically I didn't, even though mentally I was trying to tell myself something else, but I know that I had to stay positive and I had to believe. And so that is crucial. Positive attitudes are important professionally and personally. Okay, and let us start first personally. And then in your professional arena, be positive. Does your attitude reflect your circumstances? It shouldn't. It shouldn't reflect your circumstances. And how will you overcome? Making decisions. How will you overcome whatever obstacle that tries to stand in your way from achieving your dreams and your goals? And staying positive in bad situations. So on just before the last slide, where it says positive attitudes, forget about the past, reach forward to what lies ahead, overcome anger and bitterness, overcome fear, and accept opportunities that are waiting for you. Feed your mind with positive thoughts. And the last is, when you least expect it, something great will come along, something better than you ever thought or planned. Be patient, be smart, and stay focused. Okay? I want to thank you all for having me today. I hope that I was able to impart some type of information that you can walk away with and be intentional about after this workshop. Any questions?
I know some people said they're looking to transition to their next job.
They want to transition to
So how do you take, because I know when I first moved back to the area, they talked about, I had to do like a workshop and stuff while I was looking for jobs, and they talked about transferable skills. When jobs have specific things that they want, how do y'all help people adapt to, what skills they already have, even if they're just a mother or something at home, and transfer them into hitting those points when you're trying to build that resume to send over to?
You can definitely do that. Say, for instance, if you were at home, and you have a big gap in your resume, is that what you're talking about? You may have a gap.
Yeah, for some people it may have a gap where they may not have the full skills, like they come from a part-time somewhere that's like customer service based, but they're trying to move to this administration position.
Okay.
Like, how do you fuse the two, kind of, generally?
Okay. So again, looking at the job description, so say for instance if I was in customer service, so I was a greeter in customer service, and a lot of times that type of skill needs to be in administration. You need that positive attitude if you're working in a team environment. Or maybe you say you answer the telephones or so forth. And so in customer service. So you take that and you transfer it over, or even when you were customer service and you actually help solve problems or conflict, you can take those skills and transfer them over, because in administration, they're looking for those types of skills. Okay? And then I also tell people that if there is a gap in your resume, that make sure if you could volunteer someplace, it would be great, even if it's one day a week. We have a relationship with an organization that clients come in, they're unemployed, but they come in and we help them add skills to their resume. So we know, like you were just talking about customer service, what we do is we give them an opportunity to do some administrative skills so they can add that to their resume. And that helps you know, enhance the resume also. I also want to quickly share that let your resume pop when you submit it. And what I mean by that is, you know, you usually have your black type. Put a little splash of color in your resume and you'll be surprised the difference that it'll make. I help people with resumes, so if you want me to look at your resume at the end, but I have helped people with their resume, putting, like, we had a young lady who was a nurse, but just by putting the symbol and putting some color in her resume, it attracted people who were looking at her resume. And I tell you, she had the skills to win the interview, but just to be able to look twice and say, okay, let me read more, because this is different. This is not your typical resume that we see on a daily basis. So, and like I said, if you want me to look at your resumes at the end, I'll be happy to. Any other questions? Nope? Okay, well, thank you again.